So what I'm going to share with you today is what no one tells you about dropshipping and the advantages you can take with it. This is genuine feedback from e-commerce businesses that we work with here within our fulfillment facility, and you're going to find out. Dropshipping, in its essence, is the ability to have someone distribute goods from a separate location to your customer's address. For example, if you have created a website, placed in another manufacturer or supplier's product onto your website, made a sale, then having that order distributed from your website to the supplier providing the product from the supplier's address to your customer's address. So why is this dropshipping concept so popular? The barrier to entry into dropshipping is very low. You don't need to have the upfront inventory costs required to start your business. That made it very attractive. The model is actually very simple. Someone who's very good at marketing and website design to be able to produce a website to sell other people's products and then making a tiny margin in between the transaction of each sale. A lot of people took advantage of people who didn't have experience in dropshipping to create courses, which then popularized the subject matter. So you would have had a lot of gurus, as you would call it, while they made money on selling a course on how to do this process. So that was the main things we found in the early 2020s that made this concept really popular. Does it still hold true today? Yes, it does. It hasn't changed. What no one tells you about dropshipping. The person who usually sells the product runs into a lot of difficulties, which usually do end up in failure. But the person who owns the product and has a drop shipper selling for them become quite successful because they're able to create a new channel to sell their products without them having to do the marketing themselves. If you own the product itself, let's just say it's this widget, and this widget you sell on your own website, but then you create a drop shipping model which allows your product to be sold on another person's website, and then they will sell it with maybe a 30% margin on the sale. And with your consistency of being able to distribute orders quickly and efficiently, you will then be able to have that website sell your product for you, and therefore you will create sales on your website and the second website. And that is a successful model for the inventory owner. For the person who is the drop shipper or the seller themselves, it can be difficult to have a scalable business model. Usually in the beginning stages of a drop shipper, when they're starting to learn this skill set, they usually do not have relationships with reliable suppliers at that point when they choose to find products to sell on the website. And if that relationship is not well and sound, you can run into issues such as delayed order dispatch. You could run into shipping delays, you could run into incorrect address, and you could also technically run into wrong supply being sent to the wrong customer. All of these challenges make it very, very difficult for the drop shipper. Reputation can suffer at the hands of difficulties of the business relationships required to make the business successful. So how to mitigate those challenges to make dropshipping possibly a little less shit? If you're able to find someone who has a business model that works successfully with a written document to state what is the terms of the conditions of each of the sales, that can actually lead towards a more healthier and reliable consistency of distribution of goods that are sold from the dropshipper. That will usually address 4 of those issues, which is incorrect address, incorrect dispatch, delayed dispatches, and delayed shipping routes. Usually when those are done, you're away and you're set. If you do find a supplier that you do able to get a good contract with, you can probably recognize that that person who owns the products may have duplicated that same contract with other potential drop shippers. If that occurs, what you'll come into is a difficulty over who's going to sell it for the lower price and get this deal. And then that starts to chew into the margins of the business. Now you may have the opportunity, if you're the only exclusive seller and have the rights, which is a whole other contract, but under a dropshipper, they're usually not provided in the documentation. So it's kind of a free-for-all for everybody else. It does make it difficult. So it's depending on who becomes the sales guy to make the deal. There are websites in the market right now that have multiple products that they are advertising for dropshippers to utilize, sell. Those websites can create a challenge, which is called oversaturation of the product. And if that happens, what you will be doing is having a competition with other dropshippers for the same product, which can then force it to become a price competitive situation, which you don't want to get into. But that's what can occur and be a difficulty within this market of dropshipping. So it always comes down to actually finding a product you care about with a supplier you actually know and setting up an actual contract that works directly with you if you are the dropshipper. And for the seller of the products, it's always best to be open to the idea of getting dropshippers, because then having them sell on your behalf creates you the opportunity to sell more products with less time. The final thing that can be a bit difficult is refunds for dropshippers. Depending on the contract you set up with your supplier, if refunds are not applied within that document, it can be very difficult to ensure quality of service from the dropshipper. Unless you're able to have that documented in, that returns are a possible option, you may have to pay the cost of 2 products directly with only the sale of 1, which means it can chew a lot into your margins. If a product you have sold on a dropshipping business model is $80 and you receive a 20% of that sale, which would be fuck all. So you know that from so the product's $80, get 20% margin, $16. If you have to send another one, $64 of your own money, $48 for the process of a return. If you don't have the ability to send damaged or faulty products back to the supplier and allowing the supplier to take that on the chin for themselves instead of you as a dropshipper. And you as suppliers, it's probably a good idea to do it, because then you're able to send back to your manufacturer faulty goods and be able to get the credit on products that don't work out so well from people who have actually tested your products. Hopefully this gives you a bit of a fuller perspective of the subject and getting into it from a person who wants to sell products on behalf of other people, and also someone who owns products and wants to get other people to sell it on their behalf. The ones who I would say would be the winners in this business model are the ones who own the products, because I believe always owning the products owns the IP rights, owns the ability to be able to change and market that product as they see fit, are the ones who are going to win. Sadly, the ones who are selling the products, you're not going to win as much, but hey, it's a quick way to make some money if you have marketing skills and have the ability to make it work. I hope this video was helpful for you, and check out some more of these amazing content pieces we have. For example, all about the shipping carriers. Take care, see you later.